Greetings, my friends, it's Top Hat here. I'm really tired right now. I've been awake for like 36 hours, so I get a little loopy when I'm tired, so I can't promise I won't try and convince you about something like waffles are better than pancakes, which they clearly are, since on average you get way more maple syrup per bite with waffles than you do with pancakes. I'm sorry, but pancakes just can't deliver that kind of flavor. I guess you could try drowning your pancakes, bound your pancakes in syrup and then try and eat them with a spoon. But who does that? Who wakes up in the morning and thinks to themselves, you know what, I'm gonna make myself a mess of pancakes and eat them with a spoon? You know who does that? No one. No one does that because that's not normal. And some people try and tell me that syrup isn't everything, but no, you're wrong. You have to understand that half my family's from Canada, and if you think it's not all about the syrup, then you've clearly not used real maple syrup on your waffles. And before you try and say, oh, so you're Canadian? No, I'm American. I'm American's bald eagle eating apple pie perched on a flagpole, waving the Star-Spangled Banners, waving 20 more Star-Spangled Banners, and throwing some firearms and cheeseburgers just for good measure. Even though I don't even eat cheeseburgers. Oh god, this commentary's already gotten off to an interesting start. Yeah, see, I get weird when I'm tired. So, really hate that all my Battlefield commentaries seem to end up being channel update commentaries, but I know I personally like it when YouTubers that I watch, you know, I know what's going on in their life instead of just having them disappear. And for the like 5 or 10 of you that care, I'll go ahead and make it.
And due to the way YouTube works, commentaries are literally the only way of reliably getting information to my subscribers.
Okay, on to what this commentary is actually about, what's going on my channel. As far as like Airsoft combat videos go, I'm really sorry it's been a long time since I made one. I did have one in the works I was working on for a while, and it had some pretty nice effects on it, but the effects just, like, when I look in that After Effects project file, I just think like, what? That's just all that goes through my mind when I'm trying to edit. Okay, yeah, you'll see me, like, play really bad in this game, because this, I'll talk more about recording later, but these are like my first couple days on Battlefield.
Yo, if you haven't already, you guys should check out the AEK. It's gonna absolutely destroy you. It is really good.
That guy was more baked than a lasagna. But, what was I saying? Oh yeah, not very good gameplay because this was my first couple days. I'll talk more about recording later, but like I was mentioning, you know, I tried to make an effect for an Airsoft video, but I had to scrap that and start over again because the effect just, it got too much to handle. It was taking me hours to put in like 1 or 2 of it at a time just because it got so confusing, and the prospect of doing that 20 more times for the video, I had to move on. I had to start with, you know, a new video. But I'm really trying to experiment more with effects. As you guys probably could tell by now, I like to experiment with the VFX. So my future Airsoft videos, I'm hoping their effects a lot more, you know, like faster, they're a lot cleaner looking, and they're just, you know, snazzier than my older effects. So hopefully my future Airsoft videos will be better. Also, another thing that's a reason I haven't been updating my channel a whole lot is because I've been working on Airsoft inventions lately. Like, in the summer, hopefully, I'm planning on, like, just starting up my own Airsoft parts manufacturer, because I've got some really nutty ideas. Like, they're just insane. If I were to describe my ideas for you, you'd think, Top Hat, the hell are you on? How could you possibly think that's a good idea? But when I actually explain it to you, you'd probably be like, oh my god, that's genius. Because I've told my ideas to a few people that I know personally, who I know aren't going to steal my ideas, and that was pretty much exactly their reaction. So, right now, I'm just really busy with college work, which I'll talk about in a minute. I'm experimenting a lot with, like, Airsoft manufacturing, working on my own upgrade parts. I'm not going to go into detail what they are, but I will tell you that, so far I've got 2 parts in the works that go in your gearbox, and they increase your FPS consistency and your overall FPS in some cases and just get you better accuracy. I'm working on aspherical projectiles, and I'm also working on a non-smooth bore barrel, which honestly, smooth bores really aren't the best for Airsoft. I'm kind of surprised we're still stuck on them, but then again, it really doesn't surprise me because it's not like a huge sport that people put like a ton of money into, and there's really, you know, room to take risks as a business if that's your livelihood. But in the summer, I'm going to be getting some prototypes and be talking about what I'm, working on. So that's one thing that's eating up a lot of my time, is working on airsoft parts. Also, my college semester this semester has just been whack. Like, my linear algebra, I have to take an online class because my college apparently only offers linear algebras online, and oh, I missed that shot because my aim's bad. But, like, what is that? Let me just show you, what is that? This is why online math courses are bullshit. This is why we can't have nice things. I mean, I'm sorry I put in -1 whatever instead of a decimal. I'm sorry. And seriously, did I not pick the right x6? I'm sorry, program, I can't read your mind. But luckily the program's not been full of that much bullshit. But it's still been, just a little frustrating. The thing about online math courses is instead of going in and getting lectured, you just get to stumble through it and figure it out yourself, so it's a lot more time consuming. I'm also taking an independent study chemistry too, but that's independent study, so instead of lectures, I just read a book and do problems on my own. So it's a great class, and I'm definitely learning a lot from it, and personally I think it's a great benefit to kind of figure things out on your own, as long as, you're guided and you don't figure out the wrong conclusions. It kind of seems to stick with you longer than just, getting lectured and memorizing it for a test and then not caring afterwards. So I think it's a great class, but it's really time consuming. You combine that with my linear algebra, and I'm like 2 weeks behind because our first week of the semester, right, I try and airsoft. I try and go airsofting. My KCO2's valve snaps. My cylinder valve breaks. It's like, how does that even happen? This part doesn't take that much stress. My 226 I can't use because it's like 55 degrees outside. Honestly, I haven't airsofted in like temperatures below 70 degrees in like 3 years. But since I upgraded my 226 a lot and put in a increased power hammer spring, it just couldn't cycle in the cold, and I didn't bring the stock hammer spring, so I couldn't even go pistol only. So, and then my Type 97, since I haven't airsofted in months, apparently my several-year-old battery just couldn't handle being left dead for a couple months, so it wouldn't hold a charge. My 416's battery wouldn't hold a charge, and to top it off, even worse, the store, they were out of green gas when I got there. So I tried to use my Type 97, didn't work. I wanted to try to use my KCO2, and they were out of green gas. So I drove all the way from the outdoor field to the indoor field to pick up a can of green gas. On the way back, my mom wanted to stop at Wild Oats. Sorry, it's Whole Foods. I call it Wild Oats because we used to have a Wild Oats store here, and then it turned into a Whole Foods, and that just completely ruined the name for me, so I can't, not think of wild goats just, trying to eat me when I'm in Whole Foods. So, yeah, stopped at Whole Foods for 2 hours and got back to the field to find out my KCO2 wasn't working. I didn't realize why it wasn't working, though, until I got home. I thought it was just too cold for the gun. I was like, this gun should not be acting up this badly. It should not turn into a bolt action at 55 degrees. This is just ridiculous. This is not right. Then I got out my 416, which couldn't hold a charge. I still tagged out everyone. I still dominated, even though my 416's battery only lasted 6 shots before it would get jammed up, and I'd have to wait a few seconds because apparently my battery is self-recharging. It's just at too slow of a rate to be useful. And to top it off even worse, the footage from that match didn't come out because we were staring in the sun the whole time, so it's just worse than tack lights in Battlefield 3 Alpha. It's the footage is just blinding. So yeah, that day, I'm not going to call it a waste because breaking my KCO2 cylinder valve gave me ideas on how I could make a new one, which actually gets my KCO2 up to 520 FPS. I'm also going to be experimenting with TK twist barrels. My my KCO2. I know some of you are probably thinking, but Top Hat, what? No, TK twist barrels are only for 1 joule and below setups. It's not that simple. I've done a lot of research on TK twists, and I've heard of some ways to finagle them to get higher FPS guns, still get good performance. If I get good results, I will make a complete guide to the TK twist barrels. So, I'm basically just banking on, trying not to fail this semester, just get, drowned in my homework. I'm trying not to do that, and hopefully this summer, I'll just, you can expect big things from my channel this summer if I don't just take, summer classes and not be, my train of thought just derailed. It's just fell off the tracks and all of the passengers just like got crushed. That was way too morbid. I don't even remember what I was talking about. What was I talking about before trains? Because I'm fond of locomotives, and I like trains. YOLO. Oh god. The YOLO. I really need to stop saying YOLO. I actually set my religious views on Facebook to be YOLO. I think I went a bit too far with that one. I was gonna set my hometown to Pimpville YOLO Swagvio, but for some reason, Facebook seems to think that's not a real place, which is retarded. It's clearly a real place. I mean, I know I live there, but I guess Mark Zuckerberg failed his geopimpography class, or wait, didn't he just drop out of college to steal a website from some grad students anyway? I don't even remember his story, but I digress. So, oh yeah, onto the topic of Battlefield 4 commentaries, finally. I have really good ideas for commentaries, dang it, and I really want to make them, but the thing is I'm taking a speech class this semester, so I'm already constantly writing speeches, which I'm sure will benefit my commentary skills, no doubt, because I am learning some pretty interesting things in that speech class. So...
Okay, since I actually forgot to talk about recording in the original commentary, I'll edit this in gameplay quick. Now, I know I mentioned I can't record in a previous video. As of making this commentary, I still can't. I got this during the 15-day trial period of D3D gear, but that trial period ran out and I have to buy the program. Maybe I'll buy it, maybe not, depends on if people want me to make more commentaries, and of course I can still only play on the lowest settings.
I'm just going to loop in some more gameplay here because I'm not done talking, so I'm just going to keep rambling on, so I apologize if I don't commentate on something interesting in the next gameplay, but I'm not actually going to be watching it. So, yes, I have good ideas for, commentaries and stuff. I really want to do life advice commentaries because I know I have some younger viewers, and being a 19-year-old fellow myself, I feel like I could probably share some beneficial life advice, and I love helping people, so, I'd love to do that. I want to do that, but it's a matter of when I'll be able to. So, and the other thing is, all of my commentaries are going to be really big undertakings. Like, I'm working on just like a complete guide to insults, just kind of like how I view them, which it's a little unorthodox, and I think you might find it kind of interesting. But that's going to be like a half-hour commentary, and there's no way that I could possibly sit down and spout off half an hour of just, like, pseudo-intellectual garbage. So, I'm actually going to script that commentary out. Now, I know it's passé to write scripts and all that, but since I'm so new to commentating, there's no way that I could, just spout out half an hour commentary. It'd probably take me at least 5,000 tries to get that right. So... And another thing is, a lot of people don't realize is it actually takes practice to get good at commentating. You can't just, sit down in front of your computer and just, yammer off something interesting. It actually takes a bit of practice and experience to be able to do that. Obviously, some people can, just do it better than others, but for me personally, I'm more of a quiet person. So commentating, writing, I actually hate doing that. Like I said, I know it's passé to write scripts, but for my first couple, I'll probably write scripts, and then I'll move on to just, little notes. Right now, 90% of this commentary is just off the top of my head, but I do have little bullets on a notepad here just to make sure I cover all the things that I wanted to talk about. For instance, the next note on here, that's what I was going to mention, is swiggity swooty, I'm coming for that booty. I really need to get some sleep after this commentary. So, yeah, it's kind of like when I first started out parkour, I used gloves. And after a while, after I got good, the gloves came off. And it was a great way to learn parkour without, having to regrow the skin on my hands at least 7 times. So, that definitely, I think, was beneficial. It's like, you don't practice bicycling without training wheels, am I right? It's so much easier if you just use training wheels the first couple times, and then you take the training wheels off when you're not just gonna fall off your bike and skin your face on the road. Am I right? That's what training wheels are for, and water wings. I mean, you don't just jump into water and drown. You gotta practice with some your water wings first, and I really need to end this commentary before I say something I regret. Not that I think I'm going to, but I'm just like barely awake right now. So that's about it. I'm done now. Take care, everyone. Since as a special thank you for sticking here the whole time, I'm going to leave you with this very important sentiment, which is very important.
Scotland forever! Is it fucking amazing?